Yummy, 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 I got love in my tummy and I feel like I'm loving you. Love you such a sweet thing, good enough to eat thing, and it's just what I'm gonna do. Yummy, 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 I got love in my tummy.
Today we bring justice and we hope a level of comfort to the families and to a community. We're charging Jamal Hamilton and Kevan Bennett with the shootings of 9 innocent people at Trumbull Gardens that took place in June. We're one step closer to finding justice for the victims and as well as their loved ones. They've suffered because of this senseless act of violence, and everyone here with me is committed to helping the victims. For months, police officers and others have worked tirelessly to solve this heinous crime. I want to thank the Bridgeport Police Department for their hard work on this case. I want to thank all the men and women in blue who worked so hard, but especially I'd like to thank Detectives Corrett and Detective Lemaine, who's here with us today. Detective Corrett expresses her regrets for not being here. She was unable to. I want to thank the community for their support. We could not, let me emphasize this, we could not have brought these guilty parties to justice without brave citizens coming forward and giving us the information to bring these parties to justice. We thank those individuals from the bottom of our heart because they've had enough of this and they're willing to step up and do what it takes. Today shows the strength of this community. It illustrates the dedication of our police officers and the detectives that work hard each and every day to keep our kids and our families safe. We thank them. This was a great victory for justice. It's another example of how our city is keeping people safer. And in Trumbull Gardens, walking patrols, cameras, and a substation have made a difference. And now we have a conviction. With that, I'd like to turn it over to the Chief, Chief Joe Gaudette. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. I too would just like to take a moment to not only thank the members of the Bridgeport Police Department, especially Lieutenant Chris Lemaine and his partner, Detective Ada Corrett, but also our state and federal partners. We work together with the Connecticut State Police through our Urban Violence Task Force, the FBI through our Safe Streets Task Force, and the United States Attorney's Office to bring this case together and to get 2 warrants signed and served this morning. So I'm thrilled to be the chief. I'm very proud to be a part of this group. These officers, I never doubt their dedication. The community should never doubt the department's dedication to serving their best interest. I'd also like to take an opportunity to talk about something that Deputy Chief Radsmirski talked about a week or so ago. We only get one chance to do this right. There's such a thing as double jeopardy. We only get one chance to do this right. We don't work on anyone's agenda but our own. And our job is to make sure that we bring the guilty to justice. And we need to make sure that we've got the right people and that we can get a conviction once we charge these right people. So I can't tell you enough how proud I am of the number of hours that our people put into this case so that they could bring these people to justice. And I would caution people about individual agendas concerning these activities, and I would congratulate these guys for not caving to any kind of pressure and to make sure that they bring the right people to justice at the right time for the right reasons. Our interest is the community, the citizens of the city of Bridgeport, and we will do everything we can in the best interest of the citizens of the city of Bridgeport. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Questions?
Was it gang related?
Chris, would you like to?
Yes, we believe it was gang related. Any other questions?
You said, the chief said, walking patrols, substation, and cameras. Are you saying that those were directly responsible for these warrants being served?
There were a lot of techniques that we used to make people feel safe, so that they could cooperate with the police. Certainly, the walking details provide a visible police presence. There were also other techniques that we used. For example, the two suspects were previously incarcerated, I believe back in July. That was part of our plan. That was part of our investigation. We find that the public is more likely to cooperate with us when they know that the suspects are incarcerated and would remain so. So there's a lot of different techniques that we use. Certainly, the substation, the cameras are going to help us tremendously in any future investigations. The visible police presence are there to help people to feel safe and to let them take back their neighborhood so that they can feel safe all the time.
What was it that sort of led you towards these two suspects?
So we received information early on about the suspects, and we needed to, work the case to develop it so that eventually we came up with enough evidence to achieve probable cause and get the warrant signed.
You mentioned gang-related. Is there some reason to believe that any of the victims were also members of gangs or tied to gangs, or are you just talking about the suspects?
They may have been, but I can't confirm that.
So we believe that it was a group or gang-related incident, that it was precipitated by a group or gang-related incident that had happened in the recent past.
But now, I remember at the time there was some talk about this maybe being tied to an incident in Norwalk a few days earlier. Did that ever pan out, or was that not?
That may have been one of the incidents that precipitated this attack, yes.
So do you know, was it over turf, or was it over drugs, or do you want to elaborate over that?
Whatever the reason was, there was no good reason for doing what they did. It's never a good reason to use a firearm in anger to settle whatever score. I mean, we're talking about 9 people's lives and countless family members whose lives were upset due to these actions. There's no good reason to do what was done.
Would you characterize this as some sort of payback then?
I'm sorry, the mayor wants to.
No, you can answer that question, and I'd like to add another point. I don't know that we...
I'm sorry, can you ask the question?
Would you characterize this then as some sort of payback then?
I think we could say that it's group or gang related and that it's an ongoing issue. Yes. Yeah.
The point I think we'd also like to emphasize here, and we need the media's help in this, is the weapons were probably obtained illegally, and these are weapons of war. These are weapons that are designed to spray as many lethal bullets as fast as possible. These are not weapons that were normally protected under the Second Amendment. These are weapons that are used in a setting of war to have as many mass casualties as possible. And when we talked about whether it was gang-related, we've got to remember, whether there was one target in the group, we don't know. But certainly there were 8 other people that were minding their own business. One woman was taking a shower, and she had a bullet enter her body. We should be outraged as a society that the NRA and others have allowed these kind of situations to exist on the streets of Bridgeport. These weapons of war have no place. And our men and women are wearing bulletproof vests because they go into these situations and there can be sprays of lethal bullets. And this is something that we've got to do a better job on. Whether there was one person targeted, maybe, who knows, maybe we'll find that out. But what we do know is there were 9 people standing around minding their own business, and they were sprayed with semi-automatic gunfire. This is something we should not accept in our society, and we've all got to ask those questions of where these guns are coming from and why are they on the streets of Bridgeport, New Haven, Hartford, Waterbury, New York City, and beyond. They're all over the place. Why?
The press release mentioned that there were other unnamed people who drove up to this scene. Do you consider them accomplices? Are more charges expected?
It's an open case. There were others involved, and we're still exploring making additional arrests.
Have those people cooperated with police at all?
We can't get into the details. We don't want to compromise the case. I'm sorry.
Any other questions?
Were you guys able to recover any of the weapons?
No, we did not.
So how are you so certain who fired the fatal shot, or do you know?
We can't get into the details in that. I apologize. I know that's frustrating, but to get into the details could compromise the investigation. It took some brave citizens to come forward, and we don't want some of the facts to leak out that would lead people to know who they are.
Is that why the warrants were sealed?
Yes.
Two questions. How soon after the shooting did you have at least the names in hand, even if they weren't confirmed? And was it Trumbull Gardens residents that were working with you?
Within days, we had them as suspects. I can't say how that we led to them being suspects, but our gang unit, led by Sergeant Amato, did an amazing job getting Jamal Hamilton off the street on narcotics charges. He was locked up within days on $1.5 million bond. And that gave us some time to work it without fear of retribution. Kevan Bennett was scheduled to turn himself in. He had already been found guilty and was scheduled to turn himself in for sentencing. So once we had them both off the street, we were then able to reach out to the members of the community, and we eventually confirmed our suspicions by talking to some brave individuals, and that's what led us to the probable cause.
Any other questions?
Mayor, just a quick question for you. A lot of, there was a shooting incident at Trumbull Gardens yesterday. A lot of folks we're talking to out there saying, understand the city is putting cameras in, and more police, but we still don't feel safe even with these guys off the street. What would you tell them?
I tell them that this arrest goes a long way to keeping them safe. The convictions will go even further, and we'd like to thank them for all the cooperation that they gave us. We would not be here today if it weren't for some very brave citizens in the city of Bridgeport. So we're proud of our people. They have morals and values that represent the best of what's good about our country. And they stood up and they helped law and order. And the lesson here, I think, today is that citizens, through the system, took the law into their hands. And they did what was right and just, and the guilty will be prosecuted and we hope put away for a very long time. This should help everyone feel safer, and we will continue to work diligently with more foot patrols, more security cameras, and community policing. If we didn't have successful community policing in Bridgeport, do you really think that people would come forward and work with the police?
Can you guys say if these suspects personally knew any of these victims?
I believe they knew them. I wouldn't say that they were acquaintances.
So knew of them?
Knew of them. I'll leave it at that.
And Chris, how do you spell your name?
Last name is L-A, capital M-A-I-N-E.
All right, that's all we have time for. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.